All right, today we have an 09 GMC 3500, excuse me, HD DuraMax 6.6 liter turbo diesel. Now the problem with this one is sometimes in the morning when he starts it up, it won't run. See the little cap right there? That's leaking. This is the top of the fuel filter housing, and then you push the top down to prime it. Well, all the seals have gone bad, so we're going to pull this assembly out and we're going to rebuild it with this kit here from Dorman, and it comes with a nice instructions. And there's all the seals and everything that you need to fix it. All right, let me get some tools, start taking it apart, and we'll come back. All right, here we go. Okay, yeah, you can see it pretty good here. So that cap there is leaking. So we just went and started it from dead cold. It started up and it stalled right out and wouldn't start. So then you come out here and you pump this. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it or not. Can you see the bubbles of the diesel fuel around the plug? Because the plug's leaking, but we're gonna go ahead and rebuild the whole thing. So you got two fuel lines, you got to get them disconnected. Position. here's the set hose. Pretty simple. Remove the 2 lines and the 2 bolts that are 14mm. And now it does have a electrical line down low we have to disconnect. The heater and the fuel separator, or the water float, which is right here. Alright, here's the whole assembly out, and I'll take it in the back room and start rebuilding. Alright, now I know I just recently replaced a fuel filter on this, and I had the special wrench that fit the bottom water gauge nut that holds everything together, but the aftermarket one no longer takes that tool. So I'm just going to put it in the vise and loosen it up. There we go. Bring it over to my drain pan and unscrew it. We'll be reusing this, so I'll set this out of the way. Now I have to unscrew this piece. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this by hand. No. All right, let me go get a oil filter wrench. Go. Okay. Diesel fuel, just love it. That's why I usually don't work on diesel. Alright, I'm going to go take this over to our cleaning machine and clean this up, and I'll be right back. Got it cleaned up, so let's start taking it apart. We have a wire connection here for the heater. This just unplugs. You have 3 T20 screws. So we'll get these out of here. Got my magnetic parts tray. I do believe it came with new screws, so we probably won't be reusing these screws, but You never know. Okay. Now this is actually where you push to prime the system. It's actually a plunger. Okay, so there's a spring underneath there. You got to be careful that when it comes apart, you want to put your hand on it so it doesn't fly apart. All right, and that's the ground for the heater right there. Get that out of the way. So now the ring comes off. We'll take this apart real slow. So you have the cap. There's your cap, and then there's your spring. Put those together. Put those in the parts tray. And these are the two rings that we'll be replacing. As you can see, this one here is tighter at the top and wider at the bottom. This one's tighter at the bottom and then wider at the top. So we'll be changing those two O-rings. All right, so now that I got that apart, let me take a peek. It also says to take and remove this, which is leaking. I don't know why. It looks okay. The kit does come with a new bleeder, so that's good. All right. Let me see what the next step is. The next step is this plastic piece is supposed to come off of here. So I'm going to pry that off real gently, and then there's another O-ring underneath that. Now, looks like now that I have this apart, I should go re-clean it. Let me go back over and re-clean it, and I'll come back. Okay, in the instructions, they tell you to go ahead and reassemble this piece before you tackle this. I'm going to leave it apart and go ahead and take this also apart, and we'll go in reverse order. Now on these, if you can see in here, there is this black one-way valve. If that black one-way valve on yours is missing or gone or broken or ripped, you have to buy the whole assembly. So let's go ahead and push on forward and take the back side apart. So on the back side, there is another ring here to get to the screws. This has to come off. That sits there. Now there's two more T20 screws. Now there's another spring, and there's this white ball here. So you have to be okay. Got to be careful not to break anything. I'm surprised it just doesn't pop out once you take the two screws out. But I bet you this electrical connection here for the heater, I do believe it's supposed to just slide out of here. There it goes. That's exactly what was holding it. Flip it back over. Alright, as we take this apart, you can see there is a ball that comes off and a spring that comes out. Once you get that out, we're going to replace this O-ring. And here's the another one-way valve that appears to be in good shape. So, right here, sorry. If that's bad, you have to buy the whole assembly. So I see there's more dirt in here. Let me go back and clean it up. I just opened the package, and here are all the new O-rings laying out, so I have them. I know they're not in focus. I mean, not in the camera, but I thought I'd lay them out so I have them. So let's start here with the reassembly. So first thing we do is we have a O-ring here. We remove that O-ring, match it up to the next O-ring. That O-ring goes there. Now they said to put diesel fuel on these to make ease of installation, but I am going to use dielectric grease. Put some dielectric grease on that. Okay, so then on the heater assembly, there's an O-ring here. We take that O-ring off. I'm running out of rags already. We'll wipe that down. Here's the new O-ring for that. That just slides back on there. All right. I still have some dielectric grease on my finger. I'll go ahead and put that back on. Now they did not send me new screws for the inside, so I'll be reusing the screws on the inside. Also, too, what might not be a bad idea is to try where the heater goes back through this hole to get a little dielectric compound up in there. And I guess I'll just use my T40 to lubricate the hole. Okay, so there that is. So now the spring goes in, the ball goes on, and now the heater assembly goes back together. Okay, feels pretty good. Slid back together. Put the two screws back in. Okay. Keep them just snug. Put the screw back in. Alright. And what I'm doing here is I'm kind of tightening them up evenly so everything feels like it's going back together good, which it does. And now I'm just going to go ahead and tighten them up all the way. Alright, let's look at this side. That looks good. That's where the heater comes through. Looks good. So now that is all back together. Now this piece, I do believe, might be part of the filter. I'm just going to go ahead and put that back on here. I do believe that came off the fuel filter, so that goes back on. Alright, now we got that done. So now we're on. I'll go ahead and go back to this side. We got another O-ring here. Yeah, this O-ring's like rock hard. Pull that O-ring off. Just take that down. Alright. Then here's our new O-ring for this side. Put the O-ring all the way down. Get a little bit more dielectric grease. Well, before we put the plastic piece down on top of that, we'll go ahead and change these seals here. So I have my trusty 90-degree pick tool, and as let me see, I don't know if you can really see in the picture, but like I said, they're lip seals and they're rock hard. So the tall end goes here, and the tall end goes here, and the close end goes here. So you don't want to damage the plastic piece. You want to remove just the rubber piece, and you don't want to gouge the plastic piece. That's why, see how I'm in the lip of that? All right, there's that one. Alright, so here's the new one. Now my hands have diesel fuel on them anyway, so let's see. Yeah. So it looks like we'll have to slide it on the outside first. Okay, and then pick it up. Maybe I will have to use the hook tool. Don't want to poke a hole in it. Actually, I hate to say this, I think I might have goofed up on this. I'm going to put this O-ring on the outside first, facing the proper way. There we go. And then I will force the other seal over top of everything, going the right way. And there we go. Now those are on the right position. Go ahead and we'll get our dielectric compound. We'll use a lot of dielectric grease on this part. And we'll go ahead and put a little dielectric grease in here. So now this fits on there. I just felt it clip down. So that is on there. Wipe the spring off. The spring goes next. Clean off the cup. And we need the retainer. Retainer's on, and we have some nice new screws. I'm holding the plunger down to keep everything in place. And once I get that screw in there, my thumb slipped. It's okay. Okay, nope, we're gonna have to start over, because I want to make sure everything is lined up properly. So take that screw back out. You can see it popped the... I can leave that on there. That feels good. But it popped this piece off. So don't let up on it. Keep the pressure on it. And this spring is pretty strong. Oh, come on. For some reason that screw doesn't want to screw in the hole. I don't want to strip it, so let's try another screw. There it goes. I'm going to go ahead and run this screw all the way in. Switch hands here. Whew. Yeah, kind of get to the old thumb there. So let's see. So this was plugged in here. And then plugged into that one. Okay. Okay, that one's nice and tight. That lifted up a little bit. It's all right. I have to get this ground strap hooked up. Nope, the screw went right in like it should. All right, nice and tight. Nice and tight. Last one nice and tight. So what you do now is you put your finger, there's the arrow, this is the inlet side. Put your finger over the inlet and pump it. As you can see, it has sucked my finger in. So it's making vacuum. So it is working. So those valves inside are working properly. So there we go. So now the only thing we have left to do is we have the new bleed screw here. I'm going to go ahead and put a little dielectric compound on that too. Just for ha-has. Try to get this started. Here we go. That's fun. Here's another thing you don't want to strip. There it goes. There it goes finally. And you just want to tighten it up snug. All right. So that's how you rebuild the primer on a DuraMax diesel. I hope this was informative. All now I have to do is just put the filter back on, the water flute back on, and install it in the car, which basically is going to be the same way I took it apart, so there's no sense in showing you how to do that. But I can go ahead and throw the filter back on real quick. Got to be sure your O-ring is in there properly. Screw that on. I have to use a vise over here to get this tight. There it is. All right, that's nice and tight. Sorry, cut the camera off on you all when I was adjusting it. And then this is the water float to tell you if there's water in your fuel separator. Put that back on. Okay. And I'll get the wrench to tighten that up. But so after you get that done, it's all ready to be mounted back on with the two bolts here. They're 12 millimeter. I don't know why they're not 13 millimeter, but they're 12 millimeter heads. Put the two lines on, go ahead and you pump it up, and you're done. All right, everybody, that's the overview on how to rebuild the DuraMax fuel priming pump. Thanks for watching.